Hey everyone, hope you're well. We're going to do something a little bit different on this video. We actually start streaming on Twitch. We've got a Peterborough save. It started as a Sunderland save, but we got sacked. Then I ended up taking the Peterborough job, and you may have seen on the channel already, we've got a little video where we stay up on the final day of the season. And therefore, at that point, the save became called the Im-Posh-ible Dream. I figured it might be quite nice to have a little end of season review. If it's the sort of thing you enjoy, drop a like on it, leave a comment and come and follow us. I hope you enjoy our first full season in charge of Peterborough United and the Im-Posh-ible Dream. Hey everyone, hope you're well. Welcome along, as I say, to the first video in what I'm hoping is going to be a nice series, to be honest. It's the end of season review of my current Twitch save, where we are currently managing Peterborough United after a failed attempt to manage Sunderland, which went quite badly. As I say, we got sacked after about 6 months, but then ended up taking the Peterborough job, as I've said in the intro, survived on the final day of the season. There is, of course, a little video on the YouTube channel of that. There'll be a little link floating above my head somewhere, so click that, go and have a little watch and see the drama unfolding. But you know what? That is what has led us to this point here, the season 2. We're going to do a little end of season review just to sort of give you a bit of a flavour as to what we get up to over on Twitch. And you know, I'm quite enjoying it, to be honest. Streaming is a little bit different to YouTube. I feel as though it plays quite well to my sort of style of delivery. The video will pretty much be interspersed with a few sort of highlights about what we get up to during the course of the season here. And this was a fantastic 4-0 win against Forest Green. Ennis with a lovely goal there. We're going to speak a little bit about Niall Ennis as the season, as this video progresses, and also we're going to talk about Sam Hughes there, our captain. Now, this is where we ended up at the end of my first full season in charge of Peterborough in League One. Now, finished 9th, which, to be honest, is pretty impressive given the fact that we survived. We finished 20th the season before. Expectations were still to finish sort of bottom end of the table, maybe mid-table at best. It doesn't really tell us the full story, because we were actually so close to being in the playoffs come the last few weeks of the season. We sort of bottled it a little bit. Back end of the season wasn't great for us, which I'm sure you'll see as we start looking into some of the form and some of the fixtures. What you can see here, though, is quite interesting. Now, I was quite surprised looking at this screen. Our home form was terrible. Like, we won 7 games of our home matches. We drew 10. We lost 6. And I'm guessing we'll probably look a little bit more as we get towards the tactics. But I think we learn a lot that maybe we sit back a bit too much at home. We don't really press a lot and we let teams come to us, because if you see our away form, look at that. 11 wins, 7 draws, 5 defeats, 41 goals on the road. It's a completely different story. So something we maybe need to look at for next year to improve upon, because obviously we are much happier not playing under pressure, and maybe teams are coming at us and we're sitting back a little bit, or they're sitting back and we're struggling to break them down. So something to look at, I think. I mean, this was quite nice, to be honest, to get a win over Sunderland. Ennis with a lovely header. Didn't really expect to do that, to be honest, but you know what? Very, very happy indeed. Now, we'll have a quick little look in terms of some of the transfers that we've done. Business that we had to do. Unfortunately, as you can see here, Johnson Clark Harris left at the back end of the season. He scored the goal that kept us in the division. We'd agreed a deal for him to go to Philadelphia. We also sold Christy Pym, our goalkeeper, which, to be honest, questions were asked. Do you sell your first choice goalkeeper? We thought it was actually quite a decent idea, so we sold him. Idris Kanu was one of those backup players that was not really going to get a first team opportunity, so again, an offer came in for him. If you're not going to be part of the first team squad and you're not going to be playing a lot, then we can't really afford to carry you, particularly when you're getting paid wages. Same along with Im-Posh-ible, unfortunately. Good player, but was costing us too much money to just be sat on the bench. Same with Mark Beavers, to be honest. He was earning $4,500 a week when I took over, and to be honest, I wanted to kind of reinvent the defence. He was a bit slow, so again, someone else we had to sacrifice, I'm afraid. Niall Mason's an interesting one. Again, just someone who we probably weren't that fussed about. Interesting win here again as well as Ipswich. Look at that, lovely ball through. Sammy Schmoderks, what a man. Took it home after 6 minutes, giving us a wonderful win. This is a great player, by the way. We got him in on loan for Xavier Umbayamba. They got him in on loan from Chelsea. What a centre-half. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him back for our second season. He wanted too much money on wages, but my word, we enjoyed having him at centre-back. And he partnered this man, Sam Hughes, who now is pretty much the club captain, to be honest. We brought him in from Burton, and you know what? He's done a fantastic job. Just goes from strength to strength, 25 years old. Really, really good. Nice and strong. Good work rate. Good leadership. And just what you really want from a centre-back. Dan and Lunderloo, interesting one. We had him on loan at Sunderland. We brought him in on loan at Peterborough. Used him predominantly as a substitute, I must admit. So we maybe didn't see the best of him. This guy, however, was our goal machine. But you know what? He's so frustrating. Like, he blew hot and cold. He either scored loads of goals, then went on like really sort of barren spells. And you know what? That's really bizarre. When you look, he's got 20 league goals in 35 matches. And I'm complaining, saying this guy's Mr. Inconsistent. But my word, when he scored and when he was on fire, he was on fire. Struck up a wonderful partnership with RJJ. And really, it looked like things would go from strength to strength. And that was going to really push us towards the playoffs. And of course, you need a good goal scorer up front, but you also need a really good goalkeeper at the back. And obviously, we'd sold Christy Pym. So when Will the Askalainen was available, we were all over it, straight in on him. And this guy has been just a fantastic signing. We paid money for him. That shows how important we think he is. And he made huge saves in really important matches and almost actually scored for us. So money very well spent there. And you know what? We actually thought we'd bring a bit of experience in as well. We brought Jordan Rhodes in on a free transfer. Didn't cost us a huge amount on his wages. Didn't get us a load of goals either. But thought his experience may have helped us and certainly helped rub off on Ennis and RJJ. And hopefully be a little bit of experience in the dressing room. And to be fair, it was working quite well. We were flying high. We got towards the January transfer window. And then we really started to think we could ramp things up a little bit. Now, you can see here, we've got Sam Greenwood from Leeds. Okay, there's a little story here behind Sam Greenwood. We bought him in on loan. And the reason we brought him in on loan, look at me, very, very good player. Plays right wing, left wing, play up front, play just behind. Really great player. Very, very happy to get him in. We brought him in on loan because we had an option on somebody else. Someone else that we could have taken on loan, but figured, you know what, it was probably worth spending money on and buying. And that man was this guy, Ruben Providence. I mean, look at it. Paris Saint-Germain, Roma, Peterborough. We almost bought Ruben in on transfer deadline day at the start of the season. We couldn't get the deal over the line, unfortunately. He was available for loan, and we couldn't do it. But then we saw that he actually would be available for about a couple of $100,000. And we thought, you know what? Let's try it. Let's see if we can lock him down. We've brought him in. And for us, we're making him into the Peterborough Cantona. We had so much hope for him. He's an amazing player. This is an interesting match here against Wycombe. We were 1-0 down. Gape with a goal. I actually managed Wycombe on one of the Discord challenges. There'll be a video that'll come up shortly for that. You can have a little look and see the Discord challenge. There's Ruben Providence. Look, getting himself a goal. Wonderful player. Early doors there. Pulled the equaliser in. Yeah, Wycombe was fun, so keep your eye out for that challenge on the channel. Ennis with another volley. Lovely goal. The man just can't stop scoring when he scores. Here's Providence out on the wing. Pings it in. Schmodix needs 2 bites of the cherry, but he puts the ball in the net. And this is the 4th goal. Bradley Roll, one of our young lads, pulls it back. And, Henry Lawrence, what a player that boy is. Brought him in on loan from Chelsea. Can play everywhere. Such a good player. Now, while we enjoyed that, let us just have a quick look at some of the problems that can happen on transfer deadline day. For example, Bambo Diaby. Now, this is a guy who, when we took over, was banned for 18 months for, if you Google it, he has a drugs ban. And we stuck by him. We couldn't sell him. And he played a couple of games for us. And we thought, brilliant, we've got a centre-back in January. Played a couple of games, and then he demanded a move to Hibs on transfer deadline day, when we didn't think we had time to replace him. So we were a bit hurt, to be honest, at that. And we were more hurt when a couple of hours later, Jack Taylor, our star central midfielder, ended up going to Hibs as well. So we lost a first choice centre-back, our star midfielder, who quite frankly, you know, he deserves his move. He's a brilliant player. You'll see a couple of goals from him later on this video, but it just made it so hard to replace these guys on deadline day. And the day got even worse. West Ham had been trying to get Ricky J. Jones all January. We wanted 10 million. They wouldn't pay 10 million. They bid 1 million. They bid 2 million. They bid 2.4 million. We settled on 7.5 million with a future fee. And I didn't want to sell Ricky J. Jones, but we're a club that has to raise money. And again, it just made it made the remaining few hours of transfer deadline day very stressful, because how do you replace a guy like Ricky J. Jones? And I think it's probably the reason that we missed out on the playoffs, to be honest. I think losing him at that point in the season, if we'd have held him until the end of the season, then we'd have been in the mix, and maybe we'd be talking about life in the Championship. But unfortunately, Ricky J. Jones went off to West Ham. We had some money in the bank, and we have to start thinking about what to do next. And I'm not saying that we panic in the transfer window, but, you know, when we lose a centre-half, we had to get someone in. We brought Jamie McCart in from St Johnstone. He didn't cost us too much money. And we brought Ricky Lammy in from Motherwell. Thought numbers more than anything, not costing us a great amount. But the one that I was actually quite excited about was Lars Dendoncker, 70 grand from Brighton. And I know it says here he can play half-back, deep-line playmaker, defensive mid, but I think there's a really strong central defender in there, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops as we progress. Got high hopes for him. Particularly, look at that jumping reach, 17. Teamwork, 14. Work rate, 14. Determination, 14. This is a guy we want to be using as our future. So I suppose if we look at how the season panned out, you know, look at the start of the season there. A few green results, you know, Plymouth 3-0, Walsall 3-0, Northampton 6-0, Sunderland, you've seen there, 1-0. Huge result there against our former employers. Crewe 1-1, Middlesbrough 2-1, we got knocked out in the cup. We then beat Gillingham, we beat Palace in the Papa John's. Things were looking great, but unfortunately then this, you know, period here of Burton draw, 0-0, Accrington 2-2, Charlton 3-2 defeat, Wickham 0-0, Oxford 0-0. You know, there was a moment there where you're thinking, okay, this is a month where we've not won a game. You can't help but start to worry a little bit. But, you know, a huge 4-1 win against Swindon that sort of spun everything around again and gave us a little bit of hope. You know, you look there at the sort of how we set up, say, average standard 4-4-2. We basically were trying to sort of keep things nice and tight, to be honest, not try and lose games, as you could see. Ricky J. Jones there opening the score in 14 minutes in. Schmoddocks bringing the ball through, jinking past everyone, tucks it in the bottom corner. I mean, what I want you to see, though, with these highlights is the way that the play develops. Again, how the style of the club develops. Now, Ricky J. Jones laying the ball off to Jack Taylor. I mean, you can see why we're upset that J. Jones and Jack Taylor have obviously left the club, because this is another Taylor special. That's what he was doing. We've lost that. That's gone to Hibs now. You know, and you don't easily replace that, unfortunately. So yeah, so that was a bit of a sort of sticky patch for us, really, I suppose. But, you know, the Swindon game, then, you know, we then lost to Doncaster, unfortunately. Then we won against Scunthorpe. You've seen us beat Forest Green, Barnsley we lost to, but decent results against Coventry and Yeovil and Exeter. And, you know, and there's only really dropping points against Wigan and Bristol. And, you know, we got a good result against Ipswich. We beat Carlisle, we beat Salford, MK Dons, we beat 5-0. I can't help but be happy, you know. But look at this. This is leading into December. And as you say, you know, we know what happens in December. I mean, this is the Dons game, you know. Let's play a slightly off sort of kilter 4-4-2 really, and Lunderloo played a little bit further forward. It's sort of a position that we allowed Providence to play in as he came in, or occasionally we'd swap the other side, play Dembele a little bit higher up, maybe just play sort of slightly off, sort of asymmetric, not really, like it's sort of more not as rigid, I suppose, a 4-4-2. We wanted to kind of make people sort of slightly out of position, just forcing fullbacks to think a little differently more than anything. But Lunderloo getting ahead of there, got us a goal. Dembele whips the ball in. Hughes with a header, lovely goal. Dembele is such an interesting player, by the way. Should be a fantastic player for us, but his end product is just non-existent, to be honest. We actually looked at him this season. He only created 2 clear-cut chances all season, which is for a player of his ability is criminal. But as you can see, things started to turn after January. We sold Ricky J. Jones, we sold Jack Taylor, we sold Bambo Diaby, and look at that sea of red from the back end of February through March and into pretty much the back end of April and the last couple of games of the season. And that is why we weren't in the playoffs. I mean, it's not to say we weren't scoring goals. Look at this for a match. 6-4. 6-4. We won away from home against Accrington Stanley. Put your feet up and watch this, because this is possibly the most crazy match we've seen. Ennis with a goal there. Providence laying the ball on for him. Here's Taylor. Lawrence. Taylor again. Lovely ball through. Ennis tucks it away. That's 2-0. Brilliant. Zach Clough. Oh, we almost signed Zach Clough, but he chose to go to Accrington instead. Missed a penalty, then tucks in the rebound. Butler puts the ball through. Ennis. That's 3-1. Lovely. But again, I mean, we're less than half an hour in. It's probably time for another goal, right? Yeah, right. There's another goal. 3-2. Surely we're not going to concede the third at this point, are we? Yeah, we are. Yeah, 3-3. Just got that sinking feeling a little bit. And Ennis, though, look at that. Opportunistic. Pips the defender. Tucks it in. 4-3. Lovely. Providence with a corner. Greenwood in for Hughes. Very, very nice indeed. But the game's not over. The game's far from over, in fact. But what about this, though? Right, strap yourselves in, everybody, because here is a bit of Providence. Look at that. That's what that boy can do. That's why we brought him in. That's why we're very, very excited to have him in there. But as I say, back into the season, terrible run of form. That's what cost us getting into the championship playoffs. But, but I can't be upset. I said at the start, I can't be upset. We were expected to battle bravely, and here we are worrying that we didn't get in the playoffs. I mean, poor results granted against Coventry, 4-0. Swindon beat us 2-1. Ipswich beat us 3-1. We need to do better. But, we finished the season with a 4-0 win against Salford. And I guess that kind of gave us a bit of impetus. We changed systems as well, but you can see here, 4-2-3-1. Not a system I play a lot, but hey, it worked this week, didn't it? Dembele picking the ball up. Bobby Coppin. Oh, we love Bobby Coppin, by the way. He trains so hard. He gets 10s, literally gets 10s in training all the time. Great ball in there for Ennis. Of course, the story about Bobby Coppin in real life. Very, very sad indeed. So we're so happy that he is still playing for us on the game. And we're going to make him an absolute beast, to be honest. Reed here picks the ball. Look at that lovely ball through. Ennis charging, and woof, pick that one out. So I guess we've kind of talked a little bit about tactics. This is roughly what we play. We didn't, as I say, we weren't looking for dramatic, crazy tactics. We wanted to keep it nice and simple this year. 4-4-2, nothing too wild. As I say, occasionally we'd move Providence or Dembele up into sort of a more inverted winger or inside forward role or attacking winger. It just depends upon the opposition, to be honest, but mainly try and keep it nice and simple. 4-4-2, nothing too daft. False 9 for Schmodders because he works really well. Drops a little bit deeper, slips in, finds space. Bradley Roll is going to be playing up front because of the fact that obviously Ennis has gone. We're recording this at the end of the season, so you're not really going to get the sort of this is what it would have been per se. And of course we've got Edwards there in the defence where Umbayamba would have been, or maybe Dendonker, I suppose, possibly. So that's where we are. As I say, nothing too crazy. We're going to try and do something a little bit different in our second season. Hopefully, it'll work out quite nicely. Hopefully, you've enjoyed the video, I suppose, as well. That's really important. If you have enjoyed it, please do drop a like on it. Do subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already done so. Turn those notifications on. As I say, we stream on Twitch Wednesdays and Sundays. Come and join us. Come and hang out. And yeah, as I say, I hope you enjoyed it. We will see you very, very soon for another episode of the Im-Posh-ible Dream.